Hi, I'm Dr. Theresa Bullard, and we are going to talk a little bit about how to create in such an uncertain time. Now, in my last video blog, I talked about how this time that we're in right now is about hitting the reset button, and how before we really move into setting intentions and goals, first we want to just come into that state of emptiness and stillness and nothingness, and just allow us to really tap into a deep state of peace, to find our reference point. And from that point, once we connect into it, then we move into this state of all possibility. Now, in quantum physics, it's like you're moving into the 0-point field of the quantum sea of potentiality. And once you hit that 0-point field, then all possibilities become available to you. And quantum physics tells us that in the quantum realm, everything is possible, and it's all simultaneously there and available to us. But in order to access that quantum realm, and this is really what we want to do, in order to create in the new paradigm, we want to create from a quantum conscious state or from a higher conscious state. And so we want to really figure out how to access that quantum realm, and the key has to do with coherence. Now, I recently had somebody asking me after they have signed up for my Quantum Transformation Formula online training, which is all about how to manifest our goals and create our ultimate life. But they asked me, well, when it comes to planning and setting our goals and having SMART goals, which is about, they're measurable, they have specific times to them, they're executionable. So how do we set goals like that in a time that is so uncertain, in a time that is, there's so many variables that are outside of our control, such as when can we get back to work, and what can we achieve when we do, and when can we take that trip that we want to take, and all of these things are kind of out of our control. So how do you create in such an uncertain time? And I would say that we have to reinvent the process of creating in a way, because most people try to create from their personality and from learned behaviors and knowledge that's very practical and tangible and based upon the realistic material world. But a whole big piece of what I'm training people to do is how do we access a quantum state? What is the quantum paradigm? How do we shift into that new paradigm and create in a way that is limitless, right? And it doesn't depend on the outer circumstances. So to do that, we really have to achieve that coherent state of being. Now, what does coherence mean? What is this? Well, coherence means that everything is aligned. Right? We are all vibrational beings. We have energies and vibrations and so forth. You have brain waves that are happening. You have your heartbeat that's happening. There's a universal rhythm that's happening. And coherence means that all of those different frequency levels where things are happening at different vibrational levels, they all come into alignment with each other. They all start to resonate together, vibrate together at the same frequency or in harmony with each other. So this is what we want to achieve. We want to achieve this coherent state where everything comes into alignment. And so that would mean that our heart is in alignment, our sense of excitement and passion is in alignment, our mind and our ideas, our thoughts are in alignment, and at some level, higher level, there's some kind of greater inspiration that's coming in from a higher source. And all of these things are coming into alignment. So I like coherence as opposed to alignment, just because there is more of a scientific connotation to it. But how do we achieve coherence is really maybe the big question right now. And that is exactly what the last video blog was about. It was about coming to that 0 point. So how do we achieve coherence? It's about just stilling everything, right? Bringing your whole state of being into one vibration, into one point, into stillness. And so stillness is the best way to reach coherence. Now, of course, you can focus on your breath, right? When you focus on your breath, it allows you to kind of let go of the focus on the outer world, and you just start focusing first on the breath as it moves in and out of your body. Then you let it take you deeper, and you focus on your heartbeat, right? And then just slow it down. And what I say, there's in my mystery teaching series on Gaia TV, there's quite a bit, there's a whole couple episodes where I address how do we access that quantum field? How do we access the quantum gap or the 0 point? And it has a lot to do with focusing on the space between things. So for example, if you just focus on your breath, you have your in-breath and you have your out-breath. But in between, there's a pause. Right? There's a point where you've taken the full in-breath and there's a pause and then you let the breath go. But then at the end of the breath, there's another pause and then you breathe in again. So if you want a quick way to start connecting into the gap is to focus on the pause between the breaths, right? So you could even prolong the pause, especially on the out-breath. When you breathe everything out, just hold it. Just hold that as long as you can. And then when you feel like it's getting too uncomfortable, you breathe in and then you hold it at the peak of the breath. And then you hold that as long as you can and then you breathe out. But just start surrendering and focusing on that space between the actions. That's a simple way. You can also focus on the silence between sounds. You can focus on the space between objects. Right? So focusing on the gap allows you to get into that state of coherence. Once you're in that state of coherence, we get aligned with a higher mind, a higher source, and then from there, everything just flows through. All possibilities come through, all kinds of inspiration. You can set your intentions at that point, and in my quantum transformation formula, I give a lot of details on how can we, among all the possibilities, all those quantum field possibilities, how can we then select out the best possibility that's going to lead to the best outcome? How can we select out the best intentions that are going to then cause that to manifest out of the quantum sea through the observer effect? So if you want those details, I definitely encourage you to check out my quantum transformation formula and go all the way through the different steps of the manifestation process. But for now, I would just say meditate, focus on the gap, and then as you get into that state of stillness, then you will find everything starts coming into this coherence. And then you'll find from that state of nothingness and emptiness, you will start to feel filled with light, with possibility, with energy. And your mind may not be able to quite grasp it at first, but as you just tune into it and bring your whole attention into it, then you will come even more and more and more into that coherence. And at some point it becomes just pregnant with possibility. And from there, you then bring it forward. Okay, now what is this? What is the intention I want to plant here within this beautiful energy? What seeds do I want to plant? What intentions do I want to make happen? And are they aligned with that higher mind? Are they aligned with the higher potential and purpose that we really want to create? That's the key. You know, we want to create from a higher state of consciousness versus creating from just our ego self or our personality self. But when everything is in coherence and you're creating from that state, things then just flow like magic. They flow and synchronicity, when I say magic, I mean like synchronicities will start happening. The universe will start getting behind your decision and what it is you've chosen to create, and it'll all just come into alignment. Even if outer circumstances make it seem like it's impossible, I gotta tell you, I've created many miracles in my time of accomplishing projects because I've used these tools and techniques. So I invite you to check out more and go and first subscribe to my newsletter if you haven't already at theresabullard.com. You're going to get more tips, more tools, and you'll get a lot more information as well about the quantum transformation formula, but also you're going to get articles, blogs, videos that will support you. And as soon as you subscribe, you also get free access to my 2020 numerology forecast about how to make the most of this year. So we'll look forward to seeing you again.